conclusion inevitable.
It was a jump to conclusions, Matt.
My conclusion was that this idea was not a practical deterrent.
My only conclusion can be that it was a Sith Lord.
In conclusion.
Hello there, folks! Welcome back to In Conclusion, the only movie podcast where one of the hosts doesn't know what to say in the intro. And that's me. I'm one of the hosts. I'm Dan O'Keefe, and joining me, as always, is Anna Otto. How are you, Anna?
I had chicken pot pie for dinner, so I am pretty good.
Ooh.
Pretty good. It was homemade.
Ooh, even better. It wasn't just like Stouffer's.
No. You know, I only mess with Marie Calendar if I'm going to be having a pre-made. Sorry, Stouffer, you're off the table specifically for chicken pot pie.
Also joining us today, sipping a glass of water, really chugging that water down.
Love that. We love a hydrated friend.
Back for the third episode. Okay, I've stalled long enough that he has time to swallow his water. It's Jackson Hoemann. How are you, Jackson?
Thank you. I'm hydrated. That's how I'm feeling right now.
Oh, great.
Dan,
fantastic.
please. He was gobbling and swallowing his water. Never too early to start with the gobbles and swallows.
Especially next week, we will be covering Planes, Trains, and Automobiles for our Thanksgiving episode. It'll come out on Thanksgiving. Just a forewarning. The amount of gobbling and swallowing that will be mentioned when we talk about that.
Trigger warning for your girlfriend, Dan. She hates the word gobble. Trigger warning for Anna only.
We are recording this on the 8th of November, so about 2 weeks before the episode goes up. And the two radio stations in Milwaukee that play Christmas music flipped the switch recently, on Friday, basically. And let me tell you, I am in hog heaven. I have been listening to Christmas music non-stop since then. That's the only thing that comes in my ears. It's the sweet, dulcet tones of Nat King Cole and Taylor Swift's version of Santa Baby and nothing else.
I just got the word that my old high school job in food service flipped the switch as well. So it is non-stop Bublé, baby.
Hey. My dad on Friday called me at like 4:45 when he was driving home from work, and he was like, "Hey, just want to let you know that 93.9 in Chicago, they're all Christmas music now." And I was like, "Oh, Father, I know. They flipped at 4. I was listening."
God, Dan.
I'm not even in the market now, and I was listening.
I still get the Facebook notifications from the radio stations that I worked at before COVID, RIP. And I should really tell them that I'm still an admin for those pages. I just kind of keep forgetting. It's not like I'm doing anything on them. I just read the texts because I love gossip, and I know Dan does too. But anyway, sometimes we get, around this time of year, the radio stations get really good gossip from people who reach out and feel it's their duty to either say thank you for putting Christmas music on, or how dare you, I'm not listening to your station anymore.
Whoa.
You'll come back.
Whoa, I didn't realize people got that bad.
Oh, people get really mad.
Yes.
Really mad.
It's just crazy.
We used to get calls, Facebook messages. People would come in to pick up prizes. We oftentimes didn't even play that station in the lobby until December, specifically because people would come in to pick up their Okay, let me rephrase that. I made the executive decision as the person who chose the lobby music to not play Christmas music in the lobby and switch between the other two stations until it was December, because people got heated and I was not in the mood to deal with their heat.
Whoa.
So yeah.
And for a brief moment, I somewhat worked at the same station that Anna did.
You did. It was joyous.
It was. I wasn't getting paid, though.
No, I was, though.
And then I didn't work there, and I was interning at a website called On Milwaukee, which is like a Milwaukee entertainment journalism website, and I tried to get a scoop from Anna of when they were going to switch to Christmas music, and she would not tell me.
Oh, Jesus.
Oh no, that's on lock and key. You're not supposed to tell people when you're switching for Christmas music.
I know.
That's like BT.
I thought that I could get something from you, but you had it on lock.
So
I'm not trying to lose my job over spilling the beans on Christmas music.
Yeah, speaking as someone who worked at a radio station, Anna, where does the Christmas music go when the Christmas season is over?
Into storage, into the music library.
In a Raiders of the Lost Ark style vault.
Yeah, it goes away until we have, well, not we, I shouldn't say we, I don't work there anymore. I still love them and care for them deeply. I visited them last week, and we all stood outside 6 feet away from each other with our masks on and chatted for about 5 minutes. It was a really jolly old time here in 2020. But yeah, they did a Christmas in July giveaway thing where once every hour between the hours of 8 and 4, I believe, they would play a Christmas song, and if you heard it, you were supposed to call in and you could win prizes. So that's the only other time they bring out Christmas music. Otherwise, it just stays hidden in the library. Because somebody manually puts in the music for every single day.
Mm-hmm.
What a wild job to have.
Yeah. Yes.
And on a completely unrelated note,
Yeah,
we're talking about a movie today.
Yeah, what movie are we talking about, Daniel?
We are talking about The World's End, the third film.
It's not so unrelated because when I worked at the radio station, we had tons of pint glasses that we'd use to drink water that said World's End on them.
Yes.
It is the third film in the Three Flavors Cornetto trilogy in quotes. Again, directed by Edgar Wright, written by Simon Pegg and Edgar Wright, starring Simon Pegg, Nick Frost, Patty Considine, Martin Freeman, thank you, Eddie Marsan, and Rosamund Pike. It was released on July 19th in the UK, 2013, August 23rd in the US. It had a budget of $20 million, box office $46.1 million, and on Rotten Tomatoes, it has an 89% approval rating.
I have but one comment to make about the starring cast list. You say Simon Pegg as the first person, but I really think it should be Justice Hare specifically, and then the rest of the cast, because I was taken aback. If I'm being honest,
If we're talking about Simon Pegg's appearance specifically in this film, it's like he and Nick Frost did a little reversal. It's like
that's what I was saying.
We got a Freaky Friday thing going on, where Simon Pegg is playing the loser, the alcoholic,
the burnout,
and Nick Frost is our straight laced. Well, in any other world, he'd be our protagonist, but he's not.
Honestly, I was kind of loving Nick Frost as this business daddy. I was like, yes, okay. Like, it was really working for me. He was not coming past my Martin, though, you know. No. Even with his Bluetooth in his ear the whole time, I was like, that's my boy. He's a man, Anna. He's like 50. That's my man.
He's 51 years old, Anna.
Yeah, that's my man's.
Shout out to just the ensemble cast of this movie. I think, I know Hot Fuzz I know last week I said Hot Fuzz had a lot, almost everyone was doing just giving it their all. I like just like the cast and their chemistry of this movie more.
The tight five of them, how tight-knit and how they bounce off of each other so well.
Yes. Just all the dialogue feels so natural and so clever, and it's just like friends ribbing each other, and I love it.
Well, because they're friends in real life, right? So that probably makes it easier to just be like, yeah, this is my character, but also, like, if I was talking to my friends, like, how easy would it be? I mean, think about in college, like, if we're playing Friends, it's easy to just be friends with each other on stage because we're already friends. But if you have to play Friends with somebody that you're not a big fan of, then it's like, ugh. Anyway.
Yes.
I wouldn't know. I'm not a good actor. I'm just a tall actor.
Dan,
Yeah, you're a tall, straight man.
Dan, you have a twinkle in your eye, and that's all that matters.
And a mustache. A mustache that calls out to the fans.
A mustache that just don't quit.
No one's gonna see
Amen.
the mustache, Anna. No one's gonna see it except us.
I know.
no,
Dan, I'm going to need a selfie. Actually,
I'll send you a pic. Take a picture. You know, I'm on the screen right now. You can see the room that I record from if you go to our Instagram, instagram.com/inconclusion podcast, @inconclusion podcast, if you're doing a searchy search or
Thank you,
whatever
Dan.
you do
I
on
got it.
Instagram. Oh, good. I'm glad. So, that if you want to see what my face looks like mustachioed, that's all you need to do. So I'm guessing based off of the somewhat glowingness that you both spoke about with the cast, you both like the movie.
Oh,
yeah.
I will say it. I will say it top. I will say it that on top of the podcast. This is my favorite of the three of the trilogy. This is my personal favorite.
Okay.
Which
I forgot. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
it's a very polarizing choice, I think, because a lot of people don't like this movie.
I didn't dislike it. I just forgot that it was like that there was a monster in it for a while. I was like, is Simon Pegg the monster? And then all of a sudden there was an actual monster, and I'm like, ah!
I will say that it's a very slow burn, and that it doesn't have a lot of like the same genre bending qualities as Hot Fuzz and Shaun of the Dead. But I like the themes that have been laid out in this entire trilogy really come to like a peak here for me, and I just love that specifically. Like it hits a really personal place for me.
Okay. It doesn't for me.
Oh,
I will say. I didn't dislike the movie. I didn't like it though.
It's not my favorite of the three. Yeah.
I got the same feeling that I got when I saw it in theaters, and that was that happened. Nothing about it is sticking with me. Like the cast was all good. It was very well directed. I just don't care about the story.
I love this movie. I will defend it with my life, but I can admit its faults. The story isn't as well crafted as the previous films in this trilogy.
And my issue with the story is that I think it would have been way more interesting if there wasn't a monster. I think if the second half of the movie, because the main plot of the movie, just to give a high level,
Should we just dive into it since people know what we're talking about? Yeah.
Okay, yeah, let's get into it, and then I'll explain later. But basically, I think the second half of the movie could have been handled much better.
Yeah.
Well, I agree with you. Before we get into it, just because, sorry, I know I said we should get into it. Now I'm backtracking.
Come on.
Just because I didn't like Simon Pegg's character at all. I found him to be completely unlikable even at the end. But anyway, we can get to that.
Yeah. So the basic plot of the movie. To start off, the basic plot, meaning we're going to spend an hour and a half talking about the entire plot of the movie.
Yes.
Love that for us.
So we start off in a flashback, and it's Simon Pegg narrating basically what he did after his last day of high school, or whatever they call it in England. I think they call it
Secondary school.
Secondary school.
What? I'm sorry, Dan, what did you say?
Schwoop school. Twibbly twobbly school.
Oh my god.
We're back on this.
Seckety
England, I'm
weckety
sorry.
school.
Dan, we literally just got back into Europe's and the UK's good graces after this election. I'm gonna need you to
you're
chill.
single-handedly bringing America back down right now.
I'm going to cause a Brentrance, which is where Britain re-enters the EU, and a second Brexit because of
Dan,
my comments.
Dan, I really hope you're all ready to deliver a press conference at a landscaping company right now.
I am. You'll be listening to this past the 19th, and that will probably seem like decades ago.
Yeah.
But Merely yesterday, Rudy Giuliani gave a press conference at Four Seasons Landscaping, which is a gardening company in Philadelphia.
This is going to
And
be
what kind of stores is it between? Please.
an
It's
adult
between-
bookstore.
Yeah, an adult toy store.
An adult toy store, yeah.
Yeah, and was it Urns? Was that the
A
other store?
crematorium.
A crematorium.
Yep. Love that.
When my question is, when are you guys going to record your live episode from the Four Seasons Royal Landscaping Company?
As soon as it's available, it's booked out for months now.
Yeah.
You can't even get in.
I'm picturing whoever called to book it. They called Four Seasons Landscaping. They're like, "Hi, we want to book your ballroom." And the guy who
Yeah.
has like, "Yeah, we don't got a ballroom, but you can do your little camera thing
We can
outside
use
the
the parking
garage, I
lot."
guess."
Yeah. Where we store our lawnmowers, like our mulch spreaders.
Yeah, you want to just cover this garage door in signs to make it look
One might
nicer.
say, you can park your Big Mac truck right in this little garage.
So the world's end. Gary King, who is Simon Pegg's character, he's narrating what they did after their last day of Wibbly Wobbly School. And what they did was they tried to do basically the perfect bar crawl. They tried to do a drink at 12 bars all throughout their towns. It's called the Golden Mile. And it's him and his 4 friends. They're going about. They don't end up completing it. He hooks up with one of his friend's sisters in the middle of the bar crawl. Eventually, they stop after bar 10 and end up watching the sunrise on the hill. And he says, "I knew at that point my life couldn't get any better." And then we flash, and it's Simon Pegg telling the story to his AA group. And that's the introduction to his character.
Can I say what I like about this flashback at the very beginning is it's because it foreshadows so much that's gonna happen. And it's a very well crafted opening scene.
It is, yes. So from that, he gets a wry Cheshire Cat smile on his face, and he thinks...
With his nasty, greasy, dyed black hair.
And
I
I
hate it.
assume in his head he hears the sweet sounds of Phineas and Ferb going, "We're getting the band back together!"
Or they're going to
Because
say, Ferb, I know what we're going to do today.
Oh my god, Dan. Oh my god.
Yes, Jackson?
I think about that episode all the time.
Don't even get me started on how Love Handle is just Bowling for Soup, because Bowling for Soup does all the music for Phineas and Ferb, and Gage and I are obsessed with Bowling for Soup, and we were supposed to see them this year.
No.
But thanks to COVID, we didn't. The end.
No,
Thank
it's
you.
Bowling for Soup plus Steve Zahn.
True, but still.
I still blame Machine Gun Kelly, and he wasn't even involved in the cancellation.
Oh my god, wait. There's one song of his that I actually like, and I feel really dirty about it.
Machine Gun Kelly is just worse Eminem. There, I said it.
Spooky. He's a little spooky.
Welcome back to our Machine Gun Kelly hate podcast.
Hey, so
All the
what'd you guys
homies
think of
hate
Bird
Machine
Box?
Gun Kelly. What?
What'd you guys think of
He's in Bird Box?
Yeah, he's in Bird Box.
He is, and he's in the movie about Motley Crue that I couldn't get past the first 5 seconds of because it was too obscene for me to watch. Because I
Probably
am an
moo.
85-year-old woman.
So Simon Pegg thinks, boy, we're getting the band back together. He wants to recreate the Golden Mile. He actually wants to complete it this time with his friends, including Nick Frost, who has been sober for about 14 years due to a drunk driving accident. Since then, stone cold sober. Great. So Simon Pegg goes on a cross London area quest to recruit his friends to go on the bar crawl.
And none of them want to do this.
No,
They
they're
all
all
have like successful careers,
they're
and they're
all
like
successful,
put together
and-
adults.
And I just that hit very personal. Because I don't know about you guys, but I think I'm young enough to where I still vividly remember a lot of my high school days. and it's just like, I don't see a lot of the people I was friends with in high school with anymore. And it was just like, what if I could do this? What if I could get my old friend group back? Would people want this? Would I want to be involved in this?
I don't think, like, I cherish the memories I have from high school, but I know for a fact I wouldn't. Oh, this sounds so cold. I know they don't listen, but the fact that this is going to be recorded makes me feel like such a bee. I don't want to get back together with all my friends like that, and being in a situation like that would be an absolute nightmare for me.
It's a very awkward situation.
Because amongst many other reasons, one of the main reasons would just be because I'm completely different than I was in high school.
And you see that with these characters, like, they're all very different people.
They've all grown up.
Yeah.
Just like the three of us have all grown up from being in high school. It might be less time that we've been out of high school, but
and
the
Simon Pegg
age gap between
and Gary, the character of Gary, has stayed the exact same. And there's something kind of tragic about that, I think.
I think that's part of why I don't like him. They never really gave her, unless I missed it, because I don't know. Sometimes I'm not the most observant, but because he said his mom died, but she really didn't.
Yes, he is a pathological liar, and he
doesn't. Sorry, go ahead.
He's desperate. He is extremely desperate for this.
He's the kind of person where, like, people always say, "Oh, if you have back trauma, it's okay to be, like, damaged, but don't take it out on others." He's very much the king of, I have tons of trauma, but I'm gonna take it out on others because I like attention and I want to have my friends around. And he strikes me as a bad person. Like, Sam says later on in the movie, he's not boyfriend material. He's barely friend material.
Yeah.
Like, not to be rude, but he's just kind of a toxic person, if you ask me. And maybe he wasn't when he was 18, because that's how 18-year-olds are. But if you refuse to grow up from how you were when you were 18, a lot of the traits that teenagers have are not ones you want to take with you into any sort of a relationship as an adult. Hi, it's me, relationship counselor Anna Otto.
Thank you for listening to Loveline.
Literally.
I wrote in my notes that this is a movie about addiction and addictive personalities.
Yeah, I was going to say that Simon Pegg's Gary is Ferris Bueller if Rooney caught him.
Oh my God!
Yeah, I just thought about that, and I was like, no, he's trying to get that last high, that he's gotten before, and as he continues to try and go for that, he, in the back of his mind, he knows he can never recreate that.
Yeah.
But he's yearning for it so much that he can't do anything but reach for it. But he's going to fail.
Yeah.
Well, they always say, like, I mean, again, like I said before, kind of a reiteration. You can have, like, if you have a mental illness, that's fine, but you can't force it onto others. You can't force your friends to support your choices that are going to hurt you. Like, they're going to say no if you try, and that's pretty much the basis of this movie is he is coming out of rehab just to go drink a whole bunch with his friends because he thinks that's what the best night of his life is, when in reality, they don't want to be around you if you're going to be using and abusing them just so you can get closer to that high.
And there's
oh my God, I feel so smart right now. Like, I don't know, this feels like a very intelligent conversation.
This is a very intellectual discussion about a movie that's just about a pub crawl.
I love that for us. Friends, if you're listening and you would like to add into the conversation, you could join our secondary for fans by fans Facebook page. In conclusion, the after party. Continue the chat there. Yeah, continue to chat there.
Also, friends, if you're listening to this podcast, I know Anna said that you can't force your friends to support your actions from your mental illness.
No! Well, this isn't an illness.
However, I'm going to say my mental illness is being an attention whore. So thank
Same,
you
TBH,
for supporting our
wouldn't be here
combined
if we
mental
weren't.
illness.
I love attention. We wouldn't be here
but
if we weren't obsessed
okay,
with
whatever. we're just gonna gloss over that, I guess.
Oh, I hate everything. Anyway, support us on Patreon.
Yes, give us money to continue this.
All the things I just told you good friends don't do to other friends. Scratch what I just said.
So, the film. The pub crawl movie.
Yes.
Yes.
Gary,
Lighthearted.
he gets them all to come back to their town, which is called West something.
It's called Newton Haven, Dan.
Yep, West Haversham.
Gloucestershire.
Worcestershire.
Oh man, now I'm craving some of the. Oh
I want some
man,
sauce.
I used to order the British. What are they called? Walkers in England.
I don't
British
know.
Wait,
Lays.
what the fuck is a
And-
walker?
It's a British lay chip, and I always ordered.
I think that's
prawn
called a
cocktail.
shag. I think a British
No.
lay is a shag.
No, like Lay's chips, you smarty pants. I always used to get prawn cocktail and Worcestershire sauce, and I've been dying for them lately, but I just haven't ordered any. Anyway, that just made me think of that.
And if you wanted to know what it sounds like when someone from Wisconsin says prawn cocktail, prawn cocktail.
That's not.
Hey,
Prawn
you want a
cocktail.
prawn cocktail?
I'm not in a diction class. I don't have to have good diction right now. I can speak in my native tongue, you know?
Oh, can I speak in my native tongue then?
Yes.
Good evening, everyone.
Ew, never mind. Go back to your
Welcome
stage
back
voice.
to In
Stage voice.
Conclusion.
Wait.
Okay, I'll go back to my stage voice.
Wait,
Thank
your native tongue is famed English actor Brian Blessed.
Yes, it's me, Brian Blessed.
Brian
Who I am.
Blessed.
No,
I
thank
assume
you.
I'm very tall. Am I?
Not really.
No! Oh, that hurts my throat a lot.
Stop doing that. That's not good for you.
Yeah, I do a lot of things that aren't good for me.
Like Simon
speaking
Pegg
of
in
which-
this movie.
Thanks for listening to the podcast. So the group, they all they come to the town. Simon Pegg picks them up in the same car that he's had since he was in high school. The Beast.
And it's not just the same car; it's the same. It's the same tape that he's playing all over the radio. It's literally everything he has is from his high school years.
His clothes are
Yes.
exactly the same as what his teenage version is wearing. Like, he refuses to grow up. That's pretty much it.
Yes, it's a fucked up version of Peter Pan, basically.
Yeah. They get pulled over while they're driving into town by a cop, and Simon Pegg gives one of his friends info.
Yet another reason why he's manipulative and awful. Thank you.
And he
Guys-
reveals that he has been giving the car is still titled in his friend's name, and he's been giving his info whenever he's gotten pulled over, and changing the info even though his friend has moved 3 times to keep it up with the times. What a sociopath!
He's
I
more
think-
than that.
hey- Hey gang, I think we found a character worse than David.
I don't know quite yet. We'll see. We gotta count off all the check marks, and we'll get back to this at the end. Okay? All my homies hate
I am
David.
predicting a new least favorite character in this trilogy.
All my homies hate David.
So the bar crawl starts. They get to the first bar, and
Shit, what's the name of it? It's
The first post.
the first post. Yes,
I remember
yes.
because the first bar has the word "first" in it, and I really appreciated that.
Well, there's something great about all these names, and I'm going to
True.
mention every single one of them.
so they get to the first post, and it's been bought by a chain. So it only has one beer.
That was so sad. Like, even
I
chain
know.
restaurant. Well, maybe it's just because I live in Wisconsin, but America, I should say. But I feel like all the chain restaurants I've gone to have more than one beer on tap, even
I
if it's
only
just
want-
like Miller Lite, Coors Light. Guinness.
Excuse me, sir. I would only like the Applebee's house beer, please, and thank you.
The Brutus.
Yeah. Is that
Not
actually
that I
what it's
know.
called?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
When
I
was
love
the last
Applebee's.
time y'all set foot in an Applebee's? For me,
The last time I
too
was in
long
an
ago.
Applebee's, I was with Anna Otto.
What?
I think so.
When did we go to Applebee's together? I've gone so many times, I just block them out. You know? No, I'm kidding.
Well, it was my freshman year of college.
Are you sure that wasn't the time we went to Buffalo Wild Wings and I got drunk off of one Blue Moon?
No, I remember that because we went after a show or after rehearsal to Buffalo Wild Wings. You got drunk off of half of a Blue Moon.
It was big. It was big, in my defense.
Sure. It was a pint.
It was delicious.
hey,
Anyway.
hey, speaking of pints, they all order them.
Except
Except
Nick Frost.
Nick Frost.
He
for
gets some
Dan
water.
O'Keefe, who
Yeah.
I designated the Dan O'Keefe of the party.
Yeah.
In my
Okay.
notes, I literally put, my notes literally say, where is it?
Find the note. How many notes did you take?
Me?
Yeah.
Just on my notes app.
Okay.
I take
thought
a
you
decent
were-
amount. I'm like going through my note cards.
Yeah.
I put Dan is 100% the one that orders water at the bar. That's all.
I was
But that was my note.
so Anna Horst and I got dinner last night, and when we were there, we were eating outside, and it was a
Good.
nice night. So,
Proud of you.
Yeah.
but she got wine because she's an adult, and the waiter asked if I wanted anything, and I was thinking, what's the sugariest, least alcoholic cocktail that you have here? But instead, I got water because I'm a coward.
You could have got like a Dirty Shirley or something.
I know.
It's a kitty cocktail, essentially.
Yeah, at this nice Italian restaurant.
Wait. They call.
I would have done it.
Who calls kitty cocktails dirty Shirleys?
No.
No.
The Dirty Shirley is a kitty cocktail with vodka in it.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
right. Okay.
So, on the Golden Mile, you have to down your drink at each pub, basically.
Yep.
I wouldn't last. I
was
wouldn't
gonna
make it
say-
past like 4.
Out of the three of us, who would survive the longest?
Dan, you barely drink, so you'd probably be the one that has to carry us places. You'd have to carry my lifeless body.
Yeah, I'd have to carry your
Like-
lifeless body after the second one.
Correct.
You could stumble to the first one, and then you'd
You-
start crying for some reason, and then I'd
Dan,
have to
stop
carry you to
coming
the
for
second.
me!
See,
I didn't cry on my 21st birthday. I'll have you know that's the only time I didn't cry when I got drunk. I'm a fun drunk sometimes, but sometimes I'm not. Anyway, I was
Jackson.
thinking about it. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
yes.
Jackson,
I
would
hope you know that.
last?
Yes, Dan?
Sorry, Anna. You can. Anna, you say you're.
Anna?
No, you're good. I was reflecting upon how long I actually in reality think I would last if I was doing this bar crawl. I think I would make it to 3 bars if I didn't do beer the whole time.
Okay. If you had mixed
That's all.
drinks. Or
Yeah,
shots
gin
or
and
whatever.
tonics. Gin and
Okay.
tonics only.
Jackson.
So the thing about it, like I think I'm in the same boat as Anna because I personally don't like beer, and I think I would handle mixed drinks longer than if I had to do a pint at every pub.
What's your drink of choice, Jackson? I know you're not technically 21 yet,
No,
right?
I turned
Are you?
21 this year. I turned.
Oh,
20
my B. I forgot because I didn't turn 21 until right before my senior year, so I just assume everyone's like me.
Everyone's
Okay, what's your drink
not
of choice?
like you, Anna.
It should be. What's
well,
your drink
You
of choice?
are like most girls.
I can
kidding,
well,
that's
I
good.
can tell the story of my 21st in quarantine if we want to talk.
Oh, wait, you told me about this. It actually sounded really fun.
Yeah, so my parents literally transformed our garage into a bar because
Yeah.
we could only have a few people over.
That's so fun.
That is really fun.
And that's where I discovered that I don't like beer. I don't like rum. I can handle vodka. I like vodka sodas. That's my drink of choice, I would say.
That's a good one.
So, how far do you think you would make it, Jackson?
That's the other thing. I've never been to bars because
Yeah.
the
Well, let's say you're doing like a standard. They're not pouring super heavy that night. They're following by the book 1 shot vodka soda.
And you got 20 minutes between each bar.
20
'Cause
minutes.
you want to knock
Ooh,
this
I
out.
would not finish my
Do
stuff.
I get the
Ooh.
chance to eat something in between? Can I eat?
You should have had a pasta dinner before we went out.
Pasta dinner, but there's popcorn on the tables.
Okay.
Maybe some nuts.
Yeah.
I don't know my own limits yet, but I am gonna make a generous estimate of, I'd say, probably 5 or 6. I could get to pub
Okay.
5 or 6,
Okay.
and Dan would carry us the whole way there.
Yeah, because Dan
So-
would be having kitty cocktails only.
Well, no, I'm trying to think. If I actually did the drinking, so the most beer that I've had in a night is 4 beers.
That's so much, though. It's like eating a full loaf of bread.
I
each
know.
time.
It was 4 spotted cows,
Okay, yum.
and I felt, I was feeling them, but I was still fully operational. However, on the senior bar crawl that I went on, I had the equivalent of 12 drinks in 2.5 hours.
Dan, you should be dead.
I should be dead
Jesus.
That would kill me.
because they were all pouring doubles, and my gin and lemonades. Oh boy, let me tell you, they were good, and I
That
just
sounds
down.
so
I could
good.
just down them too.
Oh
'Cause
God.
Well, I do that because I'm like I don't like the taste of the alcohol,
No,
so
no,
I'll just
no,
drink
no.
it quickly.
That wasn't in response to you. That was in response to my just gripping realization that I will not get to go on the Marquette Senior Bar Crawl.
Oh,
Yep.
it's
Oh,
okay. It's just a
it's
lot
fine.
of drunk.
Yeah.
A lot
Yeah,
of drunk
I
people.
assumed I wouldn't have had a good time anyway, but still.
Well, it's fun because you go with your friends, but like
Yeah.
also make your own bar. Well, I guess you
I
can't really-
I
I'm
can't go
sorry.
to any bars right now, Hannah.
I'm sorry, I forgot. I'm not gonna
I
lie. My
mean-
senior year was filled with a lot of bar attending.
I mean, I could go, but I don't want to catch a disease.
Yes,
yeah, don't go to
fair.
Trinity at this point in time. Let me just say that right now.
Yikes. So I think I would make it to at least number 8.
Bold. Dan's strong.
Well, I'm big and I enjoy my carbohydrates.
Yeah.
On
You
the bar
would carry
crawl.
me and Jackson the whole way.
Oh yeah, over the shoulders like a
Thank you.
gosh darn fireman.
I allow you to carry me like a lamb that you rescued because
By
my
the
body will
legs?
be limp. Yeah. You might have to carry me that way. My body is completely limp.
I'll just
Don't
go.
worry.
I'll just go piggyback.
That's fine.
I had somebody carry me home piggyback from the bar once. That was fun.
On the bar crawl, I brought a sleeve of Ritz crackers to eat.
That's smart. Dan was
Yeah.
thinking smarter, not harder.
Also, I was told that when I was drunk, I remember it, but I was like, yeah, you didn't really seem that drunk. You just seemed really theatrical and loud.
I mean, that's kind of how I get, minus the crying.
But also, I could text so well.
Yeah, me too. I've
You
never
were
had
you were
like,
eloquent.
I was using like end dashes. I was using semicolons in my text. I was
Let
writing
me-
paragraphs. It was a time. I don't know what happened.
Let me just say, I think drunk texting's a myth. Thank you.
I do too.
I've never been so drunk that I could not text, but I've also never blacked out. It's not my thing. Or was not my thing. I guess after college, it's just considered bad if you black out. But I never have blacked out, and I never was unable to text a coherent sentence to somebody to be like, hey, I'm drunk. I am... Like, anytime I quote-unquote drunk texted, I was embellishing, for sure.
Oh my god. I can't text right now.
Yeah, pretty
Wink,
much.
wink. So anyway, they're on the bar crawl. It's going throughout the bar crawl. Basically, all the residents of the town, all the bars are basically the same inside.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's a phenomenon that is referred to as starbucking, and
Yeah.
and I love that term. And I don't
I did
it
love
fits
that
so
term as well.
I don't think I've ever heard that term before this movie, and I don't think I've seen it widely used. And we should get starbucking in the common vernacular.
All right. I would say, yeah, Applebee'sing. Maybe.
We're gonna frindle Starbucking.
Frindle. My mom was just telling me about Frindle. Or not telling me, her students were reading it anyway.
Oh, great. Basically, all the townsfolk don't recognize the gang at all.
Which is odd because it's a small town.
Yeah,
like a really small town.
It's that energy of like going back to your hometown that you haven't visited in a while, and everything is the same, but it's so different.
Mm-hmm.
A phenomenon that I experienced this year.
When you went to Edina?
I don't...
Jackson, don't even try. Just give up, Jackson.
You know, if I continue to antagonize him, he'll just keep doing it.
True.
Your hate only makes me grow stronger, Jackson.
I could just say, how's Highland Park, Dan?
I'm not from Highland Park.
I know.
Highland Park is I know, but Highland Park is the town next to me.
God,
and I
that's
worked
too
there.
close.
Yeah, too close. You gotta go further away. She'd be like, how's Kenilworth?
Wait, I'm sorry.
How's City in Illinois, Dan? Ooh, got him.
Oh, wow. Oh, my heart, my soul, my rock and roll.
Hey, Anna, how's Sheboygan?
That's way far away.
I know, that's the point.
I've only been there once. It was okay.
So, at the fourth bar, Gary goes to the bathroom, and like a weird 40-year-old who thinks that he's still cool to high schoolers, starts talking to the high schooler in the bathroom.
God, when I tell you I cringed, you know what I like about high school girls?
Oh.
As I get older.
They always stay the same. Or the same age. I don't know. I've only seen that movie like once, but still.
All right.
I'm gonna drive my Lincoln.
Mm-hmm.
So
Pretty
Simon
much.
Pegg, Gary, he gets into a fight with a high schooler who turns out to be dun dun dun, not a robot, but a robot, an android, a robot.
It's
A
very
sentient, non-human being.
a blank. They call them blanks.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's very Invasion of the Body Snatchers, and
Absolutely.
and I think that's what really does this movie for me, because I love the original Invasion of the Body Snatchers. I love just everything about it, and it's just such a scary concept to me that, like, you could wake up one day and everyone you've known your entire life has suddenly been replaced.
Yeah, I don't like that idea. I didn't really think about it a lot until you just mentioned it right now. Thanks, Jackson.
It's scary, isn't it? It's scary.
You want to know what really scares me? That one movie where the girl's dating somebody, but their consciousness is moved between person to person every single day. And she doesn't know
every
who-
day?
Oh, yeah.
Is that a
one
movie? I
was-
read the book. I liked the
It's
book.
a movie, too.
Wait,
anyway,
this is a
that
movie?
really freaks me. Yeah, you should watch it.
No
Made me
thanks.
sad.
If you want to read the book, it's called Every Day by David Levitan.
Oh.
So, there's that. The rest of the gang, they come into the bathroom and see that Shaun of the Living has now
There's
Shaun of the...
There's been a
killed
scuffle.
a child. Yeah, there's been a scuffle. A child has been murdered.
Yes.
He's got
And then
blue blood, which weirded me out.
Hey, Tom Selleck has blue blood too.
Oh.
That's a different kind, though.
God damn it.
So the rest of the teenage gang comes in, and then the adult gang beat up a group of teenagers.
As
In
you
a
do.
very well...
Just kidding.
Well-executed fight scene, mind you.
Yeah, all the fight scenes in this movie are beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah, very well choreographed.
Yeah.
So after they kill the children, Andy is like, screw it. And he takes 5 shots of tequila. He's done being sober. He's like, man, if there are androids here, I'm going to start drinking.
And
I feel like that's how you would go down, Dan.
I don't
No?
I'm not... Well, I'm not a teetotaler out of some, like, moral reason. I'm a teetotaler because I'm a pansy who doesn't like the taste of alcohol.
Oh, true.
And-
True.
But that sequence in particular, I think it comes back to the thing I was talking about earlier about the addictive personality. Where being around Gary brings out the worst in these people.
Yes.
Yeah. I've known I mean, we've all known people like that, I feel like.
Oh,
But
absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah. And it brings out the worst because Gary is the worst.
Yes.
Ugh, he makes me angry.
He's so slimy.
He is. When he, oh my god, it's the whole thing of him paying back Andy, but having to take
Oh my God, I was
$200
gonna
from
bring
all
that
the other
up.
friends to pay him back, and that's the thing that reminded me the most. That I was like, okay, like the money thing is a key sign of somebody who's struggling, but the fact that they're manipulating their friends is the sign that they're not willing to take responsibility for themselves. His biggest thing is that he doesn't want to take responsibility for himself and be an adult. Because for some reason he thinks that that's not going to be fun anymore. It's going to be fun. You just have to learn how to take care of yourself so you don't ruin your own life.
It's his attitude of, I just want to have a good time, and that's what I want to do with my life. And it's, I mean, that can be an all right way to live your life by, but also it's a very toxic ideal.
Your friends are going to want to be around you more if you know how to take care of yourself.
Yes.
And they'll want to help you take care of you too if you need the help.
Yeah.
If you're willing to make the moves. Yeah. And he doesn't know that.
Yeah.
This podcast got very deep.
Yes. This is a deep episode, everyone.
This is one of the deep episodes.
Anyways, the movie, the gang decides, in spite of the fact that there are androids, not robots, because robot means slave, as we are repeatedly told.
It's brought up multiple times.
They decide to continue on the bar crawl as to not arouse suspicion. As they continue, they come across Filch from Harry Potter.
I yelped. I was like, that's my boy right there. That's my boy.
Basil!
Along with 4 others who are not androids. They're humans that they recognize from their childhood. They're growing up in the town.
Oh, and didn't they pick up Martin
Sam.
Freeman's sister, Sam?
Yep.
Yes, Gone Girl.
Yes.
Oh,
Never
right.
finished that movie. Didn't like it
Me
very
either.
much.
Me either, and I like David Fincher.
Doesn't Neil Patrick Harris have a mustache in that movie?
He also gets murdered in that movie.
Oh, that's right.
Spoilers.
Sorry, everyone. If you missed that movie that came out in 2012?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Spoilers for the 8-year-old movie.
Yep.
And as they interact with the group that they recognize, they are not androids. They're still people.
They were willing to comply with the androids, basically.
Yes. And that's basically the deal. If you comply with the androids, you get to stay as you are. If you don't,
You get replaced.
Yeah. You
Where
get
did they take
snatched.
them?
It's
was
mentioned.
horrified by that.
It's mentioned at the end of the movie that they get mulch. They're turned into fertilizer.
Okay, that's what I thought. But I was like, did I miss that? Anyway.
Yeah, they're Soylent Greened.
Yeah, it's a
basically.
very Soylent Green. This movie takes a lot of inspiration from. So it's a very kind of sci-fi-y, alien invasion-y movie, but it takes a lot of inspiration from stuff like Invasion of the Body Snatchers and Soylent Green, and just very much older science fiction and dystopian stories.
Yeah. It does not take any inspiration from the Keanu Reeves The Day the Earth Stood Still. I can promise you that. No part of it was inspired.
I'm such
by
a big
Keanu
fan of the
Reeves.
original. I don't like the Keanu one.
I haven't seen either. But anyway, so eventually, much to Anna's great disdain, Martin Freeman gets replaced.
Yes.
I
Becomes
was
an
devastated. I was devastated. That's why I was suddenly interested in where he went. I was like, are they going to save him? But they can't, so it doesn't even matter.
Yeah, he gets replaced. The gang realizes that he gets replaced. The gang probably realizes before Simon Pegg does, because they go on to the next bar, even with the android one. Eventually, though,
They discover him.
They discover him.
Yes. By his birthmark.
Yeah, because what happens when you get droided, I'll say, is they basically print out a new version of you. So it's as you are with
Genetically,
as you were
right?
genetically. So as you were born, but grown up to whatever age they want you to be, because you can be like de-aged and everything. So if you have a tattoo, if you had something removed, like a mole or a birthmark, that's still there on you, and or if like a scar, because that's not in your genetics, that's not there. So that's how you can tell.
Yeah.
So if any of your friends come up to you and they have a reborn birthmark on them, punch them in the face and make sure that they're not hollow.
Mm-hmm. If their blood is blue,
not for you.
not for you. Like the snakes, right? I was trying to think of a rhyme. I'm glad you said something. I had nothing.
So Gary, he is determined to finish the bar crawl because basically this is all that he has in life. He's trying to catch that high again. He's trying to do something, and he thinks that this is his peak, this is his Everest, so he has to do it. So he and Nick Frost and Patty Considine, they continue on the crawl because guess what? Peter, who was the other friend that we didn't mention, Eddie, he is also
He's taken.
Yeah, he's taken.
Yeah.
But the three of them, they end up continuing on the bar crawl going through.
Mm-hmm.
They have to abandon Steven when they're attacked by blanks.
Yep.
In right through the warehouse, basically, that they're in, where they have to prove that they're human. And Simon Pegg basically won't prove that he's human by showing off a scar on his elbow.
Why? Why won't he show it?
We end up seeing later it's because he's basically been cutting himself on his wrists.
Oh yeah, true. But
he was
still,
checked into the hospital.
I don't know.
I guess we know that he's a bad character.
Yeah,
and
I guess this is the fine balance of he's struggling with stuff that's far deeper than this, but also in a dire situation. I think I would. Again, I don't know for sure, but I feel like you should probably just put your embarrassment aside and be like, no, I'm not a zombie. Or not a zombie, a robot. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same. This is the same thing we brought up in when we were talking about Shaun of the Dead.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. He's got a lot of baggage.
Yeah, I personally think that we're not supposed to like the character of Gary King.
Okay, that's for the best. Because
we hate him.
I don't hate him. I just think he needs to learn to help himself before he ruins somebody else's life.
Yep.
Yeah. To quote Nobel laureate Justin Bieber, if you like the way you look that much, well, baby, you should go and love yourself.
Wait, excuse me?
I hated
Jackson?
that, Dan.
What are you confused about?
Nobel laureate Justin Bieber?
Yeah.
What?
No, he did not win a Nobel Prize.
I don't believe you either way.
So Andy and Gary, they make it to the world's end because Gary needs to finish this crawl. They fight there. Andy ends up saying that his marriage is in trouble, and Gary ends up showing off that he's been in the hospitalized basically.
See, I guess I missed that he was self-harming. I saw the hospital bracelet and just assumed it was a rehab facility bracelet. I guess I'm not always that great with details.
Hey, gang, I know we're talking about some serious stuff in the movie right now. Justin Bieber was nominated for a Nobel Peace Prize.
But why?
Anybody can be nominated for a Nobel Peace
Prize. But would you like to know who nominated him?
Yes, I would.
Yeah,
actually.
I would.
If you remember back in the year 2014, there was a mayor of Toronto, Canada that...
Rob Ford nominated him?
Justin Bieber was nominated for a Nobel Peace Prize by Rob Ford.
I hate that. I hate that that's a thing that I know now, Jackson.
Yeah. Why did you put this worm in my brain that's going to eat the rest of it?
This is how we get people to listen to the podcast. We tell them that they learned this fact in the middle of our episode.
When I am on my deathbed, with my grandchildren around me, I'll be on my last breath, and they'll be like,
Grandpa
"Oh,
Dan?
Grandpa, what are you trying to say? Are you trying to say something like wise and sage-like? And I'm going to be like, Rob Ford nominated Justin Bieber for
Why
a
do you
Nobel
sound
Prize.
like that on your deathbed, Dan? What's wrong with you?
Oh, because I have the button in my throat.
Oh, okay. Just making sure.
Yeah.
I'm just going over here so that I can put my feet up. I'm definitely still listening and engaging. My feet just want to be elevated.
And it just
so you know.
turned around from
And
us.
it has
Basically faced
literally
the opposite direction.
shunned us.
Yeah.
I'm reclining, but I'm talking. I'm just reclining.
So,
Anyway.
Simon Pegg, he ends up pulling one of the levers at the World's End. However, when he pulls the lever, it ends up taking him and Nick Frost into a hidden chamber, basically below the bar, where we see the network, which is basically the disembodied Wizard of Oz of the aliens, and he explains their whole thing.
It's terrifying.
It's Bill Nye. It's incredible.
It is. Bill Nye. Not
Bill Nye.
Bill Nye.
Consider the
It's
following.
Bill Nye the science guy.
Yeah, he would be like, consider the following.
Oh,
and
right.
explain
That
how mulch
Bill
works.
Bill Nye is also a person. I forgot about that.
So the network, he explains that the aliens want the humans to join the International Federation, whatever, blah, blah, blah.
Yep.
But to do so, they basically need to submit. And also, the network is responsible for any, like, telecommunications advances that humans have had.
In, like, the past 20 years?
Yeah, because that's the first step to joining the galactic community. The network also then says, Gary, I can turn you into however you want. I can make sure you keep your memories, but you can be younger. And it is his teenage self that he offers him.
Interesting choice. I would not choose to go back to how I looked as a teenager, but that's just me.
Neither would I.
Mm-hmm.
Dan, how about you?
Well, neither does he, I guess, right?
Yeah,
No,
he doesn't choose that either. I don't know. I kind of look the same. Except for the mustache now.
Yeah, I was going to say, could you grow a sick beard like you can now?
Yeah, except for the mustache and the slightly receded hairline, as I'm looking as a picture of myself from high school.
This just in, Dan is
I'd
balding.
go for that. No.
This
No.
just in, Dan's hair is plentiful.
Why'd you have to
My
use
hair
plentiful?
is a full harvest.
Plentiful, bountiful,
There we
thick
go.
and lush.
No, I have the same hairline as my dad, which is a strong Irish U.
There you go. Love that.
Right? Someday, Lester Holt and I will have equal hairlines. But anyways, Gary basically says that he won't go along with the network. Anna, what just happened to you?
I was laughing and then I breathed in some spit and I choked.
Excuse me?
So, along with Andy and Steven, who has survived, they basically get in a fight with the network.
A
Swearing at
screaming
it.
match with the network.
Yeah, a screaming match. It's a very British screaming match.
Yes.
But not a very, like, upper crust British screaming match, a very soccer lad, football hooligan
Yes.
screaming match.
Football
Yes.
Americano? No, it's just regular football.
So, of course, what happens is that the network, this screaming match causes the network to basically be like, screw this, I'm not going to go through with
Yeah,
this.
he just tells him to fuck off. It's
Yeah. And so what happens is the network then sets off an EMP, which sends the town into the Dark Ages.
sends
along
the
with rest of
world
world.
into the Dark Ages.
Yeah, for real.
Gary, Andy, and Steven end up getting saved by Gone Girl, who got lost while driving out of town.
Well, because they can't, like, escape, right?
Yeah. So then we flash forward 20 years into the future. And humanity is in the Dark Ages. Whatever blanks are left, they're alive again. and they are basically in society.
Yes.
And Martin Freeman now has a soccer ball as half of his head.
It's
Yeah.
a fucking... that is the best visual of the entire movie.
I couldn't handle it.
Is Martin Freeman with drawn-on eyes.
Yeah. Wasn't he, like, walking into a wall,
Yes.
too?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was trying to show a house, but he can't see.
Yes.
Because he's a realtor, yeah.
Yeah, because the blanks, they're basically operating in society as whoever their humans were as best they can.
Yeah, because Peter's blank just went on and replaced him, and
Yeah, and just went...
nobody's
And he's a
the
better
family
dad.
Yeah. So humans are still not trusting of them. Andy's marriage is good. He has kids.
They go
Steven-
organic. They go healthy.
Yeah. Yeah, they have
He doesn't
to.
miss any food except for maybe one or two things.
Cornettos.
The green cornetto for the aliens.
Mint. Yummy.
Oh. We should have ordered cornettos for this final recording.
I'd have just eaten any mint ice cream. Mint's my favorite flavor.
That's true. Me as well.
Excellent choice.
Dan, what's
That
your
is
favorite
definitely
flavor?
a choice. Of ice cream?
Yeah.
It's chocolate.
Okay.
Like chocolate
Classic.
fudge.
That's a classic choice.
That's a reasonable argument. I can see.
Yeah.
As long as you, as long as you didn't say like Superman or something.
No.
Oh my god.
You guys
when
gonna
I went
remember
to
Superman?
Michigan, so Superman is like a registered trademark flavor. So some groups that have Superman flavored ice cream can't name it that. And when I was in Michigan with Gage's family, his cousin really liked Superman ice cream, so that's what he'd always get. But it was called Simply Super Cow.
Anna.
So that's what I only call it that now.
Anna Otto.
Yes, Jackson Hoemann.
This is wild, but because I have family in Michigan, and like we would go up to like the Upper Peninsula and like the more like country
boo.
go to the more country towns of Michigan.
Yes.
I also have gone to places that call Superman ice cream simply Super Cow.
Is that a Michigan thing?
It might be a Michigan thing.
If you're in
Probably
Michigan and you're
is.
listening, please let us know.
Please
if
send
Simply
us some
Super Cow
Simply
is just
Super-
a Michigan
Please
thing.
send us some ice cream.
Yeah. Oh, that too. If you have that Michigan pothole flavor, send that to me. That's the best one.
No, I want the Michigan left turn flavor.
Oh my god.
You have to go into the median and do a 3-point turn.
Oh my god.
Dan, you'd like the pothole flavor. It's got brownies and stuff in it.
Ooh. So basically, the movie ends with Gary entering a pub with the teenage versions of his friends. He's now basically like the roving man in black sort of thing.
But he's
an
drinking
urban
water.
Cowboy. He is drinking cowboy. He's sober. When the bartender says, "We don't serve your kind here," meaning the blanks, which are his friends, he then gets into a fight, and we roll credits. Jackson, you have your hand raised? Yes,
Yeah.
Jackson.
There is one guy in the bar. He's the guy that says blank bastards or whatever it is.
Uh-huh.
I looked this up. He plays the big zombie at the beginning of Shaun of the Dead that they throw the records at.
He does?
Yeah, that's him.
That's fun.
That's fun.
And that was
Jinx.
just some fun trivia that I think is like a good full circle sort of thing.
Yeah, I like that. That's simply Super Cow, you know what I mean?
That's simply Michigan left turn.
Simply.
So that's the world's end. That's the plot of the movie.
Yes.
Now, so there's a definite shift halfway through.
Yes.
Where the movie turns from just being friends on a bar crawl and all going through midlife crises together at different stages to Invasion of the Body Snatchers.
Yes.
And part of the reason why the movie as a whole doesn't work for me is because it's a truck driver's gear shift
Yes.
between the one another. They don't flow well together.
Yeah,
And
it was kind of jarring.
I'm far more interested in the first half than I am in the second half. In the second half, I'm like, this is fun, but this is all empty calories. I'm not learning anything. None of this matters.
I'd agree with you, Dan. I feel like I was very invested. Again, maybe this is just because this is the kind of television I watch regularly. Like, I'm very invested in the friend realizing that he's got to better himself so that he can maintain, the relationship with his friends.
This Is Us.
Oh, wait. When you put it like that, I don't want it. Get it on my face. Blah. I was thinking, like, Haunting of Hill House Plot B storyline where the brother is a drug problem. Yeah.
Is Haunting of Hill House a much different show than I have expectations for?
I cried at the end, not because I was scared. I cried because of the emotional release for 15 minutes after I watched Hill House, and I cried for another 15 minutes after I watched the Bly Manor anthology, which is the same, or season, which is the same anthology. But that's for a different podcast.
That's for your recap podcast.
Yeah, for real.
So as we wrap up this episode, this movie, this film, some trivia about The World's End before we get into everything. So Simon Pegg was a goth during his youth, as was his character. Yeah.
Okay,
that makes sense why he went that way then.
Yeah.
Cute.
There's a company that offers to do the crawl of all the bars that were used for the filming. They filmed in Hertfordshire. There are not 12 bars, but they do as many as they can.
So Dan.
Yeah, that sounds fun.
Dan, you're saying that when we're allowed to go to other countries again, we could theoretically recreate the hypothetical scenario we pitched earlier in this episode?
We could, yes.
Nice. I look forward to it.
Patreon exclusive. Came out.
We have so many Patreon exclusives, Jackson.
And they're all for me.
Yeah. The movie came out the same year as This Is the End.
Yes.
Yes, I've seen that one.
I remember that because I remember getting those movies confused all the time back in 2013.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, me too.
Yeah, easy way to distinguish them. The World's End is about aliens. This Is the End is about the devil's penis.
Isn't it a Seth Rogen film?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's also about the Backstreet Boys, Dan. Don't forget about the Backstreet Boys.
I actually really like This Is the End.
So Michael Cera gets thrown in. Michael Cera dies in that movie too, I think.
He does.
Yes.
If I remember correctly. Yeah.
So, Jackson, I know we gave a lot of our thoughts at the top of the episode, but now that we've gone through, spill your heart.
I will. This movie has problems. It has a lot of problems. It has this weird tonal shift halfway through it, this extremely unlikable main character. But I don't know. I feel like it has a lot to say about friendship and the kind of people you don't want to be friends with, and addictive personalities and toxic behaviors. It really gets me thinking every time I watch this movie. And I
feel that.
Yeah, and I do like the stuff with the aliens and with the blanks and the body snatcher stuff, because that is my favorite kind of sci-fi horror. And it really touches on some deeper existential issues for me that I am constantly worrying about, and it's just like, it really hits a lot of things for me. And it is not the best, it is not the objectively best movie of this trilogy. I will still say that is Hot Fuzz.
Okay.
But I think that this is my favorite of the trilogy.
Okay. That makes total sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anna, what about you?
I like Shaun of the Dead the best. I just wanted to open with that. I thought it was going to get more reaction than complete silence.
No.
Understand.
I'm sorry. Ooh.
I thank you. I genuinely thought there would be some reaction, and then you guys both just stared at me, and I was like, oh, I guess not.
It's a good... Shaun of the Dead's great.
Yeah. I liked it a lot. Hot Fuzz was just okay to me, and I guess for me, I loved that Martin was given a lot of screen time. However, my own personal biases aside, it was like, because I didn't like Gary, he needs to sort himself out. And I felt like I didn't really get that redemption. Kind of like Dan was saying, like, it's such a big shift from the actual plot of this guy who really, really needs to figure himself out into these aliens, or not aliens, robots, but we never get any redemption for him trying to figure himself out. At the end, they're like, oh, he drinks water now because he's sober. The end. Cool, thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it. It's like, that's just the added on part at the end. So, like, granted, the movie probably would have to be like 3 hours long if they did that, but I wish that there had been more growth for Simon Pegg's character specifically. I felt like there wasn't really any need for growth from the other characters because they were side characters, and we don't know as much about their personal lives except for Nick Frost's character. We know a little bit more about his, but yeah, I was missing the growth. I feel like the other two movies were better to me because either the character needed growth and had it and it was resolved, or the growth was not as important. Like, Sean and Officer Angel, I can't remember his first name. Nicholas, thank you. They both, like, they have problems, but they're, like, minor problems, you know?
Yeah.
They're like, yeah, it's going to affect your life, but it's not going to make your life, like, it's not as treacherous of a path for someone to deal with as struggling with addiction and struggling with keeping and maintaining good relationships and healthy relationships and even a healthy relationship with yourself, I think. And I think that's part of the reason why this wasn't my favorite. Yeah. Because they didn't really touch on that as much.
Yeah, I wrote in my notes that this is a trilogy of movies about friendship at its core.
Yes.
And Shaun of the Dead is about lifelong friendship. Hot Fuzz is about new blossoming friendship. And The World's End is about decaying friendship.
Or I'd say, like, repairing a friendship.
Yeah,
trying to.
Repairing a bad friendship.
Yeah. I would say that I like Hot Fuzz the most out of the three, as I said last week.
Wait, do we all have a different choice?
Yeah.
We do, yes. Wow, look at us. That's also because I just like 80s action movies a lot more than I like zombie movies or sci-fi movies.
Well, you don't like spooky things at all.
Dan, I will agree with you. Hot Fuzz is objectively the best, but I have a more personal connection to this one.
Yeah, and I totally feel that. And with this one, I guess I like the awakenings portion of the movie more than I like the Plan 9 from Outer Space portion of the movie.
Yes.
So, if we had to pick out of the actors in the film, Jackson, who's doing the most?
I think it's Nick Frost, because we forgot to touch on a very important scene in this movie where Nick Frost loses it.
Yes, we did not talk about
where
that.
Nick Frost goes feral. And it is incredible. And I think that's one scene alone really does it for me. And we also, I'm just going to say, we also forgot to talk about Pierce Brosnan being in this movie.
Oh, God. Pierce Brosnan.
He just shows up.
He was serving some daddy vibes
He just shows up
movie.
in this movie.
His facial hair was serving in this movie.
Yeah. Yes, but my answer is Nick Frost.
Okay, Anna?
Well, obviously I want to say Martin Freeman, but I feel like...
You could say Martin.
I'm thinking about it, just because he had to make the distinction between his character, who was a little bit of a curmudgeon, which is like how a lot of his characters are, because he's kind of a curmudgeon, which is something I love about him. But anyway, from that to like the cheery robot persona, I will say Martin.
It is a huge contrast between normal Oliver and replaced blank Oliver.
Yeah, and I love a good switch when somebody has to do more than one character in a movie. That's why and I've mentioned this to you before. I think I have. I want to do the Unbreakable Glass and Split.
Yeah.
Because we'll have another deep conversation if we do that about Split. So I'm not going to get into the politics and things today.
David
but
Dunn.
I like that movie because James McAvoy has to do all those different characters, and it's very, very interesting to me.
Yeah.
How you can cycle through all of that, because that's hard. It's exhausting.
Yeah.
Even if you just have to do a contrast between two characters, it's hard.
Yeah.
So, especially
why-
if you're doing a character that's playing a character or a portrayal of yourself. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like,
Yes.
super weird.
Which is
So-
why I think that a movie on equal level with Unbreakable and Split is The Master of Disguise, starring Dana Carvey.
Don't even get me started on Dana.
Turtle.
I love Dana Carvey.
Me too.
Dan, I
He
also
has done
love Dana
so
Carvey.
few. I'm saying this, and it hurts. He has not done many good things as a performer. I don't think he has made the best decisions in roles.
No.
I don't know. He did Wayne's World, and I love Wayne's World.
He did. That's true.
Dan, and I think, Dan, you and I have the same opinions about the Dana Carvey show.
Yeah, it tried a lot.
It
did
tried a lot. There are some good things in the Dana Carvey show. Not
And there
a
are
lot
some
of them.
bad.
Not a lot of them specifically come from Dana Carvey himself.
That's true. Yes.
Because Germans Who Say Nice Things was a Steve Carell character.
And the waiters who are sickened by food was again Steve Carell.
Oh,
Stephen
and Colbert.
Yeah. If I had to pick an actor who was doing the most, can I go opposite and do the least?
Yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say Gone Girl. I was going to say Rosamund Pike, because
Her character's kind of.
I think
just
it's
kinda
mostly
there.
just because of how her character's written. It's not
Yeah.
much for her
Yeah.
to go with. But I'll say Filch.
Oh,
He's just
Filch.
Filch again. He's just Filch with a
He is.
smile this time.
His smile and his fucking crazy straw. And I think
Yeah. Yeah.
I love him.
So
But yeah, I agree.
can I give
Jackson.
can I give specific shout outs to Patty Considine for a second?
sure, go ahead.
Because he's my introduction to Patty Considine was Hot Fuzz, The World's End, and The Death of Stalin. And he gives 3 very different performances in all 3 of those movies.
Mm-hmm.
And I just special shout out to that guy, because he's doing good shit.
That's that good shit.
You were saying, Daniel?
Jackson, because I forget, who's your favorite actor or actress?
I'm going to give a third different answer this time.
Great.
And I'm going to
Wonderful.
say, and I'm going to say Steve Buscemi.
Would this
Oh!
movie be better, worse, or the same with Steve Buscemi as Nick Frost?
I'm picturing Steve Buscemi going absolutely feral right now.
I wouldn't imagine him as a rugby player personally. It wouldn't fit, you know.
I think the scene where where Andy loses his shit would be much more manic than the way Nick Frost portrays it.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm saying I kind of think that'd be better.
That'd be kind
Okay,
of fun, bold.
It's a bold choice.
definitely. Would this movie be better, worse, or the same with the ghost of Jimmy Stewart as Martin Short?
Did you say
Excuse me, it's
Martin
Martin
Short?
Short.
I know what I said.
Do you mean
I realized what
Daniel?
I said.
Do you mean Martin Freeman?
I do mean Martin Freeman. I was going to say Martin Sheen, and then I would have cycled to Martin Freeman.
Dan,
Actually, I probably would have cycled to Michael Sheen.
Dan, no.
Hey,
Oh,
actually,
God.
Michael Sheen would be a good
Michael
fit.
Sheen would be great in this.
Yeah.
I'm still mad at you for saying Martin Short, though.
Okay, well, anyway, Jimmy Stewart would not be as good as...
Thank you.
I kind of want to see
Martin
Jimmy
Freeman.
Stewart with a soccer ball on his face, though.
Yeah, I did love that.
I think all of Jimmy Stewart's movies would be made better if he had just a soccer ball on his face and two poorly drawn eyeballs.
It's a Wonderful Life would truly be different.
Clarence! I can't see!
She's a librarian!
Dan's a librarian.
I am. Just in training. So, Anna.
So, Dan.
Better, worse, or the same with JTT as every child.
Better.
Every 18-year-old.
Better, absolutely better. Just a chorus of JTTs.
Yeah, if there was
absolutely
if
better.
there was a fight with a army of JTT, this movie wouldn't end the way it does. They'd all be...
JTT and I are the same height, so I think we would be a good match for hand-on-hand combat.
If there was an army of JTTs, Anna would be the first one to surrender.
Yes, I would. I'd be like, take anything. Here's my white flag. It's one of the masks made out of what I presume is... It's one of the Hanes masks I have that I presume is made out of... Not used,
underwear?
Definitely unsold underwear, yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah. So lastly, real quick, on a scale of 1 to 5 bar crawls where you get blackout drunk after the third one and someone has to carry you the rest of the way.
Stop! I feel seen.
And you're also sad and crying.
Stop! Crying about being a whore. Ooh.
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 Jackson, what do you give the movie?
I'm going to say a 3.5.
Okay. Anna?
I would also say a 3.5 because I did enjoy myself. It wasn't my favorite.
Yeah.
I'd watch it again.
Yeah. So to quote a radio ad that I hear when I listen to WGN for the homeloanexpert.com.
You can't rate this 1877 Cars for Kids out of 5.
Well, the ad goes, interest rates are in the 2s. That's right, in the 2s. I give this 2.5.
2.5?
Yeah, 2.5 out of 5.
Okay.
It's good. It's very well made.
I forget that
I
forget that you're rating these out of 5, and a 2.5 is still a good score.
Yes.
I don't know. It's a D, a D plus C minus.
No, it would be a 50%. So it's definitely an F.
Oh yeah, that is an F.
This reminds me of when I was in a digital media class, and my professor gave me just like a rave, like comments on what I turned in on my project. And then he gave me an 80, and I was like, so I don't really understand how every comment that you said was all good stuff. But then you gave me an 80, and his response was, an 80 means universal acclaim on Metacritic. And I was like, okay, I'm done. I'm done here.
When I
That's not how I grade.
when I did speech and debate in high school, I would sometimes get feedback forms and my scores where they'd give me tons and tons of praise, but rank me the lowest score you could get. And I was just that hurts.
One time during a solo ensemble performance, I was singing a song from Cabaret. It was maybe this time. It's a singing competition. They gave me less points because I didn't do a dance with it. You don't dance at singing competitions. Anyway.
They
If
do
you
on
would
the
like to
they do
support
on the
our-
Masked Singer.
Oh god, I love Masked Singer. Don't even get me started.
If you would like to not watch The Masked Singer and instead support whatever this podcast is, you can do so at patreon.com/inconclusion. You can find the show online on Facebook and Twitter at Inconclusion, on Instagram at Inconclusion Podcast. You can find me on Twitter at Dan O'Keefe86, on Instagram at DLRAAR. You can find Anna's eyebrows wiggling as I'm reading this. You can also find my blog at dan-o'keefe.com. Jackson, where can they find you?
You can find me on Instagram at Jackson P. Heyman. I've said the spelling twice already on these, so if you haven't followed me already, you should.
And last but not Martin Short, where can they find you?
That's correct. I'm not Martin Short. You can find me on Instagram at OptimusPrime818, and you can find me on Twitter at AutobotsRollout, capital O for Auto, capital B for Bots, and the capital R for Roll, and the O in Roll and the O in Out are zeros. Wow, I just had the biggest brain fart of my life. Everyone, don't make it confusing. Don't what?
It's just, I understand how when you're like in the middle of it and you mess up, you have to go all the way back to the beginning because your brain's on autopilot. And you're like, what is happening right now?
Yes, I just had a glitch. Oh my God. Anyway, what I was going to say is, when you make a Twitter handle, make sure it's not hard in case you decide to join a podcast when your friend invites you and you have to say it every week. You'll regret it.
Or don't do a podcast.
Hey, no.
Those are your two options.
You should do a podcast. If you have a podcast idea, you should do it.
Sure. Crowd the marketplace.
Oversaturate everything.
Saturate it. Turn that slider up to 10. We will be back next week with a Thanksgiving special. We'll be talking about planes, trains, and automobiles because that's the only movie that you can talk about around Thanksgiving. If you want to escape your in-laws talking about politics over whatever virtual or in-person Thanksgiving you're doing, listen to that episode because I can promise you we will not be talking about politics.
Will you be talking about the Polka King of the Midwest? Wait,
that's
Home Alone.
That's Home Alone, Jackson.
I still don't like Home Alone.
Anyway, tune in next week. Same In Conclusion time. Same In Conclusion channel. In the meantime, everybody stay safe, have fun, stay warm, stay healthy, wear a mask, all that jazz. Bye-bye.
Mm-hmm. Bye-bye. All that jazz. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, bye. Yeah. If I was a man, I think I thought I would have looked like you. Mature in the face. Did that make any sense?